Bounding into comics, anti-police crusader Natlie Portman's Apple TV show targeted by criminals in Democrat-run Baltimore. And there's a picture of Natlie Portman as female Thor because, that's important because gods can just be any gender we want them to be now. And some book called Lady in the Lake by Laura Lippman. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed. It's important that I bring this up just simply because, look at my subscriber count. I've been doing this for, 4 years now? And I've been shadow banned, obviously. So any help that you can give me would be much appreciated. You can find me over on Rumble and on Twitter. Now let's go ahead and dive into this article here. One of the most bittersweet joys in modern life is watching from the sidelines while woke left-wingers are forced to suffer the consequences of their own dystopian ideology. The most recent case involves actress Natlie Portman and her involvement in Apple TV's Lady in the Lake TV series, which has become the target of criminality. The series is being shot in Baltimore, Maryland, a city that has been plagued with out-of-control violence and crime, which was exacerbated by the mass rioting of 2020 in the wake of George Floyd's death. Yeah, it's interesting how, nobody brings this up on the left as, a bad thing that happened. They're all like, oh, no, it's the January 6th, that's terrible, it's the worst thing ever. No mention of the 2020 riots. Portman, a staunch defund the policer, stars in the show alongside Obi-Wan Kenobi actress Moses Ingram in a story based on the 2019 book by Laura Lippman. I'm sure it's just a page turner. According to Endeavor Content, the production company responsible for the creation of the show, 2 local drug dealers confronted a crew driver and threatened him with a gun. An attempt was made to extort $50,000 from the crew, upon which they were forced to flee the downtown area of Park Avenue where filming was taking place. Yeah, and Baltimore is all about, get rid of the police. I guess this is the site where, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a picture. Who knows? It's hard to make such a story out, but this is just part and parcel of the Democratic Party agenda for the country in 2022 and for the foreseeable future. Baltimore is a bastion of left-wing radicalism and anti-police sentiment, and the end result is an explosive crime and murder rate that is completely out of control. Wow, imagine that. Of course, we're not supposed to notice any of this. And if we do, we're all labeled as racist, who support white supremacy rolled out by corrupt police, and so on and so forth. Rinse and repeat. The pattern of denial on the part of the left at this point is simultaneously laughable and dreadfully banal. Yeah, that's why I got this channel. I got tired of being accused of being evil just because I'm white and male and straight. It's ridiculous. That's not what makes me anything other than white and male and straight. Portman, for her part, helped make the bed that her production crew and fellow stars are forced to lay in. Back in June 2020, the Thor Love and Thunder actress linked support for police to white privilege, openly insinuating that they keep white people safe exclusively while ignoring everyone else. Yeah, you mean they keep you safe? Because you are white. You're a white woman, even though you're from, the Middle East or something.
When I first heard hashtag defund the police, I have to admit, my first reaction was fear.
She began. Before getting to the real heart of her argument.
My whole life, police have made me feel safe.
Oh, good for you.
But that's exactly the center of my white privilege. The police make me, as a white woman, feel safe. While my black friends, family, and neighbors feel the opposite. Police make them feel terrible.
Your black neighbors, huh? And you have black family, too? All right. Well, you know. So your black neighbors, I mean the ones that live in, fanciest parts of Beverly Hills or whatever? Those black neighbors where you got all the crime there in Beverly Hills? Your black friends who live there, nearby or live in expensive houses. The picture here is a picture of a bench, a bus stop bench, and it says, Baltimore, the greatest city in America. Okay, I suppose. This, of course, is sheer hogwash and not backed up by any statistical data. In fact, an August 2020 Gallup poll showed that a whopping 80% of black Americans want the same or more policing in their neighborhoods. Natlie Portman's defund the police sentiment has been echoed by white elitists, liberals, for years now. And it hurts minority communities the most. Yeah, it does. By incentivizing defund the police movements, crime in black neighborhoods spirals out of control. The secret to reducing crime is an increase in police presence, not less. The lives of black Americans don't matter to Natlie Portman in one iota. The only thing she truly cares about is typical left-wing virtue signaling. I bet she cares an awful lot about her money. Here's a picture of Natlie Portman from the from the 2018 movie Annihilation. If you haven't seen Annihilation, don't watch it. It's a feminist propaganda piece, and it was pretty poorly done. It has Oscar Isaac's in it, about aliens coming to Earth. Unfortunately, I spent the time to watch it. Very disappointed. This has become a common thread on the left as well. White liberals have shouted loud and clear that the concept of white supremacy is a white problem. That logic means that only white people are capable of solving it, since blacks and other minorities have no agency or influence. That's what is commonly known as a white savior complex, and it has infected the liberal hive mind to a startling degree. This slippery slope soon leads to the soft bigotry of low expectations, which is how society gets to the point where left-wingers make outrageous insinuations about blacks not being able to find voting booths, procure an ID, or hire lawyers or accountants. The level of racist disdain against minorities on the part of a so-called anti-racist left is a parody unto itself. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous to think that like black people can't get an ID. I think that it's true that black people are less likely to have, adult blacks are less likely to have ID than adult whites, but it's something ridiculous. It's like 0.03% of adult whites don't have an ID, and like 0.1% of adult blacks don't have an ID. It's not like a huge percentage or anything. The end effect is the kind of extreme radicalism that has corrupted the Democratic Party and the leftist establishment. The results are more dead bodies in the streets, more crime, more misery, less opportunities, and the erosion of society as a whole, all courtesy of rabid leftists who never want the hatred to stop. Yeah, it's interesting how the progressives all want this bigotry. It's a type of bigotry, this hard-headed belief system that they have to just perpetually continue unabated. I'm like, you realize that you're making most of these problems, really. Typically, this stuff is not an issue, but you're making it one. Baltimore has made headlines for all the wrong reasons of late. Most recently, Mayor Brandon Scott blamed the rising crime rates in Baltimore on the media who were focusing in on it. It seems whenever Democrat policies begin wreaking havoc on constituents, those responsible become quite angry that people take notice. When ABC News questioned Scott over Baltimore's crime explosion, he rebutted with, "I think that's a ridiculous question. I think that your station in particular has to understand that this is not a hashtag." He then went on to talk about the much lampooned Summer of Peace, which was designed to try and curb crime and violence throughout the city. It hasn't made a lot of difference. Yeah, Summer of Peace didn't make a lot of difference. Baltimore is like, there was a movie made about this called We Die Young. It stars Jean-Claude Van Damme, believe it or not. Straight to DVD, like most of his movies should be, almost all of his movies should be. But yeah, it's about gang violence in Baltimore. It's pretty horrific. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan had nothing but praise for the show's production taking place in Baltimore, citing the potential for job creation and revenue for local businesses. Now, the show has been forced to pack up production and migrate to another part of the city and the surrounding area, but it's doubtful they've seen the last of the criminal element. You can shoot a movie in one of the most crime-ridden cities in the country. Baltimore currently ranks as the 7th most dangerous city in the United States. There you go. Behind Monroe, St. Louis, Detroit, Cleveland, Wilmington, and South Bend. Previously run by incompetent Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. Are you seriously? His name is actually Buttigieg? I mean, you'd think the guy was gay and he had some sort of butt gauging device attached to the front of his body or something. It's worth noting that only St. Louis and Cleveland are situated in red states, yet both of their mayors are Democrats. The pattern continues apace. The Democrat Party is for lawlessness and the breakdown of society. While they defund the police, violent crime is skyrocketing in our communities. Enough is enough. That was said by Kevin McCarthy. Meanwhile, the lady in the lake seems to be staying put in the jaws of the lion, at least for now. It remains to be seen whether a tragedy occurs to any of the show's crew or talent. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to pin it all on corrupt police. Well, that's the end of the article. Looks like Natlie Portman, I have not had respect for her in many, many years. I used to think she was incredibly, incredibly beautiful when she was younger, in her 20s. But then she started saying stupid stuff. Like she said at one point, I never got drunk or high until I was 20, and I think that's a good thing. Like, really? Waiting until you're 20 makes it a good thing, but You did it when you're 19. That's bad. If you waited till you're 21, would that have been better? Or would that have been too long? Really, it's ridiculous statements like that. And then, of course, she comes out as a raging feminazi. These people in Hollywood, I don't listen to what they say. They can say whatever they want to say. They're allowed to have their own opinions. Unfortunately, there's too many people out there who don't think, who just go along with the cattle mindset, don't think about the bigger picture and say, well, you know what? Like, Disney's actually hurting the country. Disney's actually not interested in being a good product for the people. They just want your money. Oh, it's cute. I'm going to buy it. It just so happens that Disney makes cute things. Okay, well, they've done a really good job of making things cute, but that doesn't mean that they're good people. But, hey, people buy it up. People eat it up. People love Disney. They think it's the greatest thing in the universe. And it's not. It's just evil. So her, I guess, sort of co-star, not really a co-star, but I mean, in the Marvel Universe, co-actor, Mark Ruffalo on joining She-Hulk and his future with Marvel. I'm always surprised that I'm still here. Now, this is a pretty pointless interview with Mark Ruffalo. It's very poorly written. They repeat themselves a lot. And I don't mean they repeat themselves and like they say the same thing over again. I mean, they actually literally write the same words over again in the same sentence. But we can look at the one part here that might be important for this overall subject matter, and that's half of the original 6 Avengers are no longer part of the MCU. How long do you think you'll be playing Bruce Banner? The question was asked to Mark Ruffalo. I don't know. I'm always surprised that I'm still here. I mean, me and Ed Norton joke that the Hulk is like our generation's Hamlet. We're all going to get a shot at it. I keep waiting for the next version of it. I mean, I'll probably do it as long as they'll have me. If people are interested and I can bring something that's interesting to me to it and interesting to the fans. But I have no idea. I mean, when you look at the comics, there's some pretty grizzled old versions of him. I'm like, okay, the 67-year-old Hulk, that would be interesting. If all of us are still here making movies and there's a world that allows for us to do that anymore. With what we're living in and heading towards, the future feels more precarious than any other time. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But I hope I'm still around to do it. Yeah, so you hit on basically what Natlie Portman has to live through with her filming of this show. And that is, we're creating a world that's incredibly polarized and that's incredibly dangerous. How are we doing this? Feminism and mass immigration are the main 2 culprits. You bring in people with a different idea of what is right and wrong. You allow women to lead with their feelings instead of leading with logic. What are you going to do? I mean, men lead with their feelings too, but not as much as women do. But we want to have, we got to have equality. We got to have economic equality. We got to have political equality. All this. No, you don't. Get over yourself. I mean, what you did when you gave women economic equality was you made long-term relationships pointless. There's no reason for a woman to be in a long-term relationship with anybody. I mean, there is raising children, but women don't see it that way because, hey, we've given that the financial responsibility of that over to Big Daddy government. Not that I'm, hey, look, if you need to get welfare, if you really actually honestly need it, I understand you need it. But the focus is on being a single mother. You can do it all on your own. Just talking to a woman yesterday. It's like, you have a career, you're working 40 hours a week, and you have 2 kids. You think that those kids are getting the best they can possibly get? Really? This is the world that these Hollywood elites wanted, for the most part. I mean, Mark Ruffalo is a raging feminazi. So is Natlie Portman. So this is what you wanted. You wanted a world where it's all about me. What I want. I don't want to have to sacrifice anything for a long-term relationship. Are you kidding me? I'm going to divorce you and make you pay child support, and then you can raise my kids for me, basically. Yeah. What can you do? And Natlie Portman is an immigrant too. Comes from Israel, I think. Yeah. I've liked some of the movies that she's in. I like Star Wars movies, and I like The Professional. Your Highness isn't bad either. It's pretty fun. It's not a great movie. I mean, it's just like a kitsch spoof movie. It's pretty clever in some ways, but it's mostly just goofy, silly stuff. So, but these people will never learn. Like, you'll never be able to sit any of these people down and convince them because they live in like the article said on Bounding into Comics. They live in the hive mind. I game when I can. Some of the guys I game with are progressives. I mean, it's California. They're everywhere. And, of course, they're all about, oh, yeah, the left is great, and, oh, yeah, the right is evil, just inherently. And I'm like, you think that maybe they both have good and bad? But, they talk about the insurrection. Oh, the January 6th, it was the worst thing that ever happened to this country, don't you know? Arr! Yes, people stood inside the Capitol building. That's an insurrection to you? People stand inside the Capitol building every day. People fought with the police. That's an insurrection. It's illegal, but it's not an insurrection. The hell? well, they were Capitol Police. Therefore, they're no, calm down. But you know, you can't talk to these people. You can't teach them anything. They want to live in their own world instead of living in reality. This criminal experiences that Natlie Portman has had, they're not going to change her mind about anything, other than, oh, well, I guess I can't film in Baltimore. Why is this happening in Baltimore? We need less police. We need fewer police. Don't you know? That's what you want. You want fewer police. You're going to get more crime. I'm not saying the police are perfect, but we got to do something to keep crime from happening, or at least keep it from being a bigger problem than it is already. Anyway, thank you for watching. That's all I got for this time. Please remember to like, comment, share. I will see you in the next video.